The Boston Celtics take a commanding 2-0 lead over the Mavericks in the NBA Finals tonight, beating the Mavericks by 7 points, 105-98 behind. A huge 26 points from Jrue Holiday. Jaylen Brown was great again tonight. He had 21. You know, it's something we've said about the Boston Celtics all year, where it's like Tatum drives, gets past his first defender, or Jaylen Brown drives, or Derek White sometimes, and the defense collapses, and then it's 39% three-point shooter, 42% three-point shooter, 40% three-point shooter, finally to the corner to a 40% three-point shooter, and it's green pretty much every time. And the Celtics shot just shy of 26% from three this game, and that's why it felt like it was a must win for the Mavericks, because you tell me in game 3 whether the Celtics are going to shoot 26% again from three. They're not. They're going to shoot like 35. Like, I thought they haven't been shooting particularly well this series, and yet they're up 2-0. Now, we went into the series thinking and basically knowing that the Celtics were the better team, but it was always the better team doesn't have the better player in this situation, and that's really not mattering in the series right now because no one is showing up on the Mavericks except Luka Doncic. Kyrie Irving looks flustered. He's just not himself. I haven't felt this way about Kyrie Irving shooting the basketball since last year. Like, everything this year, even when he was injured, coming off injury, I felt like everything was money. You know what I mean? Like, when he was open, it was money. Like, these last 2 games, I don't feel that way. And he's had some bad turnovers, costly turnover down the stretch. This game was basically over whenever Derrick Jones Jr. was bringing the ball up and kind of got it knocked away by Jrue Holiday, I think it was, or he throws it back to Luka. Luka has to get the pass up because they wasted too much time, and Derek White gets the interception. Then it's points for the Celtics on the other end. That was at the 4-minute mark. This game was definitely the Jrue Holiday game. Last game was the Porzingis game. Jaylen Brown has been great through both games. Jason Tatum has been inefficient through both games, but he's been finding the right players when they're open. And, you know, this team feels almost unbeatable in stretches because the Mavericks will go on a 7-0 run, and then later in the quarter the Celtics will respond with a 9-0 run, and at this point the Celtics were already up in the game, so it's instead of them being up 3, they're up 8, they're up 10, you know, and these sort of things are exhausting. There's a stretch halfway through the second quarter where it was 38-35, and the Celtics had recently gone on a run. And I still felt like the Mavericks should be winning. Like, the Mavs had 35 points. Luka had 20 of them. He had 20 of our 35 points. And we were losing. It felt like the Mavs should have been winning in that instance, and we just weren't. Really, this feels like the 2021 team where it was Luka has, no help. You know what I mean? Kyrie Irving has struggled greatly. You can tell the crowd is really getting to him. He just doesn't feel like the same player that got us here. Remember game 1 against the Timberwolves? He was awesome. He had 20 points in the first quarter. Sorry, not the first quarter, first half. The chance of Kyrie sucks has really been getting to him. You can tell he's taking on these ISO possessions against amazing defensive players like Jrue Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum in the stretches, Derek White, obviously. And they're Jason Tatum locked him up with a minute and a half left, ripped the ball from him. Something we do have to talk about because we have to. It happened. Mavericks were down 98-103 with roughly 45 seconds left. We get a steal. PJ Washington out in transition and blocked by Derek White.
Washington drives, blocked by White. Oh, what a block from Derek White.
You know, that was the Mike Breen call. But Jaylen Brown was there too. And when PJ goes up for the dunk, right, he's got 2 hands on the ball. Jaylen Brown's got his left hand in his back gripping his jersey, which means it looks like he's pushing it forward. And you can watch in slow-mo that the block really wasn't by Derek White. The block was by the front of the rim. PJ Washington didn't finish that play because the rim blocked him. And you're 6'7", 6'8" PJ Washington is not finishing a dunk, just a regular dunk in transition. I don't care how fast he's moving. And then you're okay, well, how did he miss it? Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe he didn't get a chance to get his lift all the way up because he's getting shoved in the back. That would have made it 100-103 with 40 to 35 seconds left. And that's not what killed you if you're the Mavericks, but that's definitely the straw that broke the camel's back. That's the nail in the coffin of the game. And that really hurts because it's the Mavericks do this really annoying thing where when they're losing a game, they'll just remember how to play basketball for the last 4 minutes and bring the game back to within 4 or 5 points and then lose anyway. We did this all the time in the postseason. Since the trade deadline, we did it a bunch. If it was close, it was a 10 to 12 point game that we cut to 4 or 5 with a minute left, but it just felt like you ran out of time. Really, one mistake, one bad call in this situation, and Like, what can you do? You can't do anything about it. I mean, it's a missed call, but you dug yourself in such a big hole to begin with, and no one was really doing anything outside of Luka, and PJ Washington was decent this game. I won't lie, he didn't shoot the ball particularly well. He was 1 for 5 from 3. I thought he was our second best player tonight, to be honest, and he was. I mean, Luka had 32. He was the next highest scorer with 17. He had 7 rebounds, 1 assist. Kyrie Irving, who took 18 shots at 16 points. 18 shots for 16 points. I thought Daniel Gafford was really good in the second half. I almost didn't really want him to go out of the game for Derek Lively there at the end, but I mean, obviously, it's just how our rotation works, and Gafford had been in for a while, so it makes sense. I thought the Maxi Kleber minutes tonight were a disaster, to be honest. It looked like his shoulder hurt more today than it has in any other game he's played in since the injury. It just looked like he was really shoving it when he was shooting that shot. Like, it felt like he was shot putting it. And if you watch Maxi Kleber, he has like kind of an unconventional release anyway, where sometimes he doesn't get a whole lot of rotation on his shot, but today it just looked like everything was a knuckleball, and Derrick Jones Jr. couldn't shoot to save his life outside of like 1 in the fourth quarter, which we needed. And Dante Exum checked in, played some good minutes, played some decent defense, knocked down his one open 3-pointer, which was a crazy assist by Luka. And that's what you ask of him. But no real Jaden Hardy minutes today, which is, I get, is mostly due to the fact that he's kind of a liability on the defensive end, and you can't really have more than one liability on the defensive end for the series against the Celtics, and that liability will always be Luka Doncic, because he just can't move his feet in the same way other guards can in this league, and he just doesn't have the lateral quickness to stay in front of Tatum or Brown or Holiday or White. And sometimes it feels like his feet are in the sand, and maybe Al Horford could get a step on him sometimes. Like, it's been bad. And I get that that's kind of unfair to ask him to do it on both ends, because we haven't asked him to do that this year. We've asked him to participate on the defensive end, and he has, for the most part. But this series is really exposing the fact that, yes, he can give you 32 on the other end, and he's been excellent. He's been amazing, and I can't critique him too hard, but it is frustrating to watch him just get beat by a jab step and a right by Jason Tatum, and then it's swing, 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 wide open Drew Holiday 3, or swing, 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 wide open Derek White 3, or honestly, swing, swing, Derek White has to chuck it up with 2 seconds left. It feels like that's money every time. Like, he had one in the corner that he finally missed on, and I just assumed it was going in. I almost looked away from the TV because I couldn't stand to watch another one of those go in. And that Peyton Pritchard 3 to go into the fourth quarter, that was heaved from half court. Like, really? It just felt like one of those days. I mean, that 3-pointer was kind of making up for the fact that the Celtics had missed like a million wide open chances this game. Like, in the first game, every time they got a wide open chance, they converted, and every time they were contested, they didn't. It was almost like the opposite this game. It was very strange to watch. But yeah, I don't really know where the Mavericks go from here. Like, you stick to the game plan. You tell yourself, hey, Kyrie Irving will be better when we get back to Dallas, when there's not such a hostile environment. And if we can just get one win, we can fix his confidence so we can hopefully win game 4 and then take game 5 on the road. And that's tough. That's a tough ask. I felt like this one was one we really, really needed, because if the Celtics shoot less than 26% from 3, they're not a particularly great team whenever it comes to putting big numbers up on the board. I mean, 105 points, that's doable for the Mavericks. But once again, we're stuck sub 100 points again, and we lose. If we have even just an average Kyrie Irving game, I think we win this game all day. But Kyrie has just been so rattled this series that it's almost tough to watch in stretches. Like in game 1 when he dribbled it off his foot, or in this game where Jason Tatum clamps it with a minute and a half left. Like, Jason Tatum should not be putting the clamps on you, Kyrie. You are too good of a scorer for that to be happening, and he knows that. He knows that more than anyone. But I think when it comes to game 3, I don't really want any press conferences from the Mavericks. I don't want Jason Kidd telling me who he thinks the best Celtics player is. I don't want Kyrie up there telling me positive stuff. Like, I understand that's his MO and that's what he does, but I just want nothing. I want radio silence from the Mavericks until game 3. And I want us to go out there and win. Obviously, if we lose this game, it'll probably be a sweep or a gentleman's sweep. So, back against the wall, how do you respond sort of moment. But yeah, man, this Celtics team is good. Like, we know that. I've been saying that all season, how great this team has been. I mean, they were 64-18 in the regular season. They lost like 3 games on their way to the NBA Finals. Like, yes, I was telling everyone, like, it was an easy path. 2 things can be true. The Celtics can be a very good team, and also they had an easy path to the finals. Both of those things can be true. So have to win game 3. It's a must win. And when you're in must win situations, there's no one else I trust in the NBA more than the duo of Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, this will probably be uploaded tomorrow because I've got an early shift tomorrow. Hence why there hasn't been a whole lot of uploads. I apologize. Anyway, y'all take care. Have a good one.